The Civic has always been a strong seller and competitive player in the compact car market. It's been around for over 50 years, 11 generations, and for 2025, Honda has brought some updates to the Civic lineup and brought back the hybrid model after a 10-year hiatus. My name is Martin. I'm here with Redline Reviews on behalf of Sofyan, filling in for him while he's on his honeymoon. We're here in beautiful Montreal. So we're gonna take a look at this new 2025 Honda Civic Hybrid. And the question I want to answer is, does this have what it takes to compete with the Toyota Prius? Stay tuned to find out. So here we are with the 2025 Honda Civic Hybrid in the Sport Touring trim. So this is actually the top trim. This is a new color called Blue Lagoon, and I think it looks really good. So let's talk about the trims real quick. The LX is now a sedan exclusive. That is the base trim with a 2-liter, 150 horsepower 4-cylinder, and the same thing with the Sport. Then you step up to the hybrids. The hybrids are now the top models. So you have the Sport Hybrid and then this, the Sport Touring Hybrid. And with this top model, you get a couple other features that we'll get into. But let's pop the hood and take a look at the engine bay. Under the hood, we have the new 2-liter 4-cylinder engine with 2 hybrid motors, making altogether 200 horsepower and 232 pound-feet of torque. It all goes out through a direct drive transmission, I believe it's called. It can kind of act as a 1-speed or a CVT. I wasn't given too many details on that, but it drives really well, as you'll see in the driving scene. The Civic is front-wheel drive only. If you want all-wheel drive, you'll have to get a CR-V. We don't have a 0 to 60 time or a top speed for this model, unfortunately. Miles per gallon is rated at 47 highway, 50 city, so 49 combined, which is great. So you can get a lot of range out of this model. So up front here, we have a couple of styling updates. The grille is more aggressive. It's a honeycomb design. It's gloss black on the Sport Touring trim. And we have these LED headlights. You have LED turn signals and daytime running lights. I don't believe these are projectors. The triple beam, I believe they're just an LED flashed onto a reflector, but they look pretty good still, and definitely better than some halogen bulbs. There are no fog lights, but there are these air dam, kind of like air cooling vents. The front fascia is very aggressive and bigger, and it just looks better. I really do like that design. And then we move to the side of the vehicle, and we have these 18-inch machined wheels, and they are 7-spoke, and they look pretty good. They have noise reduction on the Sport Touring model. And this also comes with a tire that's supposed to have less rolling resistance and be a quieter ride. So I think people buying the hybrid will appreciate that, especially the top model. This car is 184.8 inches long with a wheelbase of 107.7, I believe. The Civic has definitely grown in size over the years, but I have to say it's very comfortable. I fit in it well, as you'll see in the driving scene. But we have these gloss black mirrors here. It's all black surround, there's no chrome. This looks way sportier. I really do like it. And then around the back here, you have these darker tinted areas. You have an incandescent turn signal, LED brake lights. I do like this little duckbill spoiler that the trunk kind of does. It kind of goes up at the end there, and you get this little hybrid badge to let everybody know you have the hybrid, and you have the Sport Touring badge there. So the rear looks really good. You do have those reflectors. Not really any visible exhaust. It's kind of just peeking out under there. Here in the trunk, you have 14.4 cubic feet of space, which is pretty decent, especially for a compact sedan. And yeah, you do have these hinges that crush your cargo. This is how you fold down the rear seats. And then under here, you just have a fix-a-flat kit, air compressor, things like that. There's no spare tire. The lower valance area is pretty simple, but that's what's nice about this car. It's very simple, very clean, instantly recognizable as a Honda and a Civic, and I think they did a really good job. So we looked at the exterior of the vehicle. Let's get into the interior on this 2025 Honda Civic Hybrid Sport Touring model. So this is the top model. You get these nice leather seats. I don't know what this color is called, but it does look really nice. It's kind of a lighter gray. I do really like that. These bolsters actually feel pretty good for a compact sedan of this segment. You do sit down in the seat, which I appreciate. The door panel here has some nice touches. It's a lot of soft injection molded plastic. It's like soft touch, very nice. Some nice finishes with plastic, kind of looks like it would be aluminum. And then you have this nice texture, so it's not piano black, not going to get as scratched up. And window switches, the front two are auto, the back are not. And you have your mirror controls. You do have some like gloss black here, which I don't know if I like that. You do have your trunk release there. And yeah, a little bit of stitching, soft leather here. And yeah, feels very solid, very good. So let's get inside of it here. So here we are in the interior. We have these 8-way adjustable driver seat, and I believe this is 6-way passenger seat. It's also power, which is nice to see. And then here, the steering wheel, you got some simple controls, very basic, you know, just plastic here, but you do get a leather wrapped or leather stitched steering wheel. That's pretty nice. You do have a 10.2-inch fully digital cluster, very easy to use and change and everything like that. Moving over to the infotainment system, it's a 9-inch screen. You have all your hard controls here, and then of course all your screen controls here. The Sport Touring does have Google built in. It's the only model to have that, so you can ask it things, whatever you want to ask Google. So maybe you want to look for a Starbucks, use Google Maps. That's all built in. You don't have to use your Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, which this does have, wired and wireless. All your hard buttons, volume knob, very nice to use, very easily laid out. The only thing I don't like is how it doesn't look as integrated into the dash as maybe some other models and competitors. So that's something you might like or dislike. And then here we have the honeycomb style AC, HVAC vents. You have your hazard lights there. And then moving down here, we have our HVAC system. It does have dual climate control, and you also have a 3-way adjustable heated seat. So here's driver, passenger. Here you have your USB-C for charging, probably CarPlay, and then plugging your phone. You have your 12-volt wireless charging pad. And then here in the center console, you have your normal gear shifter. You have this textured plastic, which looks really good actually. Your drive mode selector, parking brake, brake hold, all that normal stuff. Cup holders are nice and big. Let's take a look at the center console. The center console is a decent size, not a ton of storage in there, but it's nice and padded, feels really good on the arms. And the design kind of just continues on the passenger side with all of that. So let's go into the back seat and see how that is. Moving from the front seat, I did forget to mention there's an optional 12 speaker Bose system on the Sport Touring. It might be standard, but I believe it's optional. I just didn't see it on my tester here. But here in the back seat, the rear, this is the segment best. The rear leg room for me at 6'1" is awesome. Like, I could sit here pretty comfortably for a long trip and be okay. And I'm decently bigger. I'm 6'1", not a small guy. My hair is just touching, so it's really not bad unless I put my head all the way back, and maybe I'd be hitting a little bit more on some of the bumps. But overall, not too bad. 37.4 inches of legroom, and the door panels look very similar to the front. So you get a lot of that same design. It's very, very upscale for a Civic. And then here, this is where it kind of gets disappointing. No charge ports and no rear seat vents. You would think that would be on a Sport Touring, the top model, but maybe you have to step up to, you know, something like the Accord or CR-V just to get that. So here we are in the 2025 Honda Civic Hybrid in Montreal right before the Grand Prix weekend. So traffic is a little crazy, but we're driving along in this vehicle and it's great. It's quiet, it's smooth. Even at speed, when we pick up some speed here, handles very well. The 2-motor hybrid system is very responsive. You can really feel it kick in, especially low end. This vehicle makes 232 pound-feet of torque from 0 to 2,000 RPM. So it is pretty low in the rev range, and it just feels very responsive. You know, you hit the gas and you go. I do like just the overall feel of the steering wheel, the seating position, the adjustability. Visibility is very good out of all the windows. I can see everything. The rear window is a little small, but that's to be expected with a sedan this size. Miles per gallon, it's
kind of hard to tell you actually, because it is in kilometers right now. But I was getting around 49 miles per gallon around the city earlier, which is actually more than advertised, so I was a little bit surprised by that. I did reset it, and then I got around 30 in a very short trip with some more spirited driving. So it really is going to depend how you drive this. If you drive this normally, I think you're going to get the advertised miles per gallon and that kind of fuel efficiency that you'd be looking for in a car like this. But overall, it's very smooth, very refined, very nimble, can fit into tight spaces, it stays in the lane. The Honda Sense safety works very well. It's their active safety system, and it's alerted me to multiple different things, people walking in front of me and such. And so far, so good. The battery recharges with the different regeneration modes. I had it on a lower one, and you know, it does slow down a little bit, which is nice. And here we are on the cobblestone roads of Montreal. It is a little bumpy, as to be expected. It's not the smoothest ride, but the car is soaking it up rather well, getting thrown around, tossed around a little bit. But the comfort of these seats and the bolstering is actually quite decent, even for somebody my size, 6'1". The engine does, under load, the engine does pop on, and it is a little bit noisy, but that's just something with hybrids. I mean, the engine is just gonna kind of come on when it needs to provide that power. Okay, up to speed. This thing feels great. I am very impressed with how it feels, especially at 60, just cruising here at 60 miles per hour. Feels very good. We are in this tunnel. It's a little bit dark. Let's change lanes, and oh yeah, very responsive. Honda just has it locked down on front wheel drive drivetrains. It's honestly just awesome to see how much better it just continues to become with their engines, their drivetrains, and they're just like the masters of front wheel drive in my mind. They do things that I never thought would be possible. Like the Civic Type R is the fastest front wheel drive car around the Nürburgring, if I'm not mistaken. And you know, they solve the torque steer issue. This, even going around a turn, feels so good, so planted. And this trickles to all their other models as well, just like some of the Acuras I've driven. I've been really impressed. So I would say this car is going to be a great seller for many Civic buyers, and especially those that are a little bit more fuel conscious, want just a good city driver or road trip car. I think this can cover it all. And I think a lot of people will be pleased with the new Civic Hybrid. After only spending a few hours with the Civic, I can say it's a great recipe and going to be a strong seller for Honda. With 50 miles per gallon, all the features that are standard on the top hybrid models, the 2-motor hybrid system, the power, everything combined makes it a great value. The trunk space, the rear seats, I mean, I can go on and on. I think this is a great commuter car, and especially in a city setting like this, 50 miles per gallon is huge. So yeah, I think it's right in line with the competition, especially the Toyota Prius, which starts for an LE base model at around $27,000. These hybrids will set you back around $28,000, so it is a little bit more, but you are getting some nice standard features. You also have some more trim options with the Civic. You have the LX and the Sport, but with the naturally aspirated engines, I think it's great and all, 150 horsepower, but for only a little bit more, you can get a hybrid and you're getting a lot more torque, about 100 more pound-feet of torque, and then you're also getting 50 more horsepower. So it's kind of a trade-off of what do you want to spend? Do you like the hybrid system? I think a lot of people are going to go for the hybrid system. Honda estimates about 40% of Civic buyers will buy a hybrid, and I could see that. I mean, I think there's a lot of good value in this. Now, these are a little bit priced a little bit higher than, say, a base Corolla or base Prius, but I think you're getting a lot of good standard features, especially with the moonroof, heated seats, 8-way power adjustable, driver's seat. There's a lot of good tech in there, especially
with the Sport Touring, you get the built-in Google and a couple of other things. So overall, a good value. I think this will sell well. The only things it doesn't have is all-wheel drive, rear seat vents. Those would be nice to see, but you know, that can always be coming in the future. To see all the latest cars we're testing, follow us at Redline_reviews. And to see all the latest videos, just subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.